all welcome to today's live conversation. I don't know if it's just me, but I have goosebumps all over my body watching that video all over again. It's very traumatic for me as a viewer, and I don't know. I don't know. We've had this conversation a lot of times on my platform. We've talked about this whole Alex and Pere situation. And guys, I feel like I've actually overstretched the matter to the point that a lot of people feel like I am carrying it on my head. So today we're going to be having a conversation with the victim in this whole situation. We're going to be having a conversation with the man himself, the man that went through all of that harassment. Yes, that is what it is called. It's called harassment. All right. And in case you're looking for another word, there's another word for it. It's called bullying. Yes. So what you saw, that was just a tip of the iceberg. I had to take out time to make a truckload of compilations of clips, and what I was able to put up together, it was just the minimum, the barest minimum of the multitude of situations that actually happened in Big Brother's house. And this is just the ones that the camera showed to us. I don't know about what the camera did not show to us. And so today we're going to be having a conversation with Pere Egbi himself. He's going to be sharing his experience with us. And let me tell you why we're doing this today. I put out a tweet on Monday, I think. I put out a tweet. And from that tweet, I said that the one thing that will give me hope is when I see interviewers that will be bold enough to address these issues, things that actually really happened in Big Brother's house, to Pere. I said then it would mean that the media is ready to have conversations about men being abused as well. And then lo and behold, the media rounds for the finalists started. And what did I see? Attacks in form of questions. People who call themselves interviewers, journalists, painting very negative perceptions about this young man, stretching the ugly narrative about, he was aggressive, he was violent, he was X, Y, and Z. And then they forget that there are those of us that actually watched the show. We did not just watch the show, we actually analyzed the situations that happened on the show. So that is the reason we're having this conversation today. Today, we are setting the records straight. Today, we're having that conversation that people did not want to have. People do not want to have, and still do not want to have. So today we're having that conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Pere, the General. He's here with us today. Make welcome, Pere. Please give him a round of applause, a standing ovation wherever you are. Hi, Pere.
Hey, thank you so much.
Oh my God, look at him. Look at a man, such a man. Pere, first of all, I want to thank you so much for honoring my request, my invitation. I am honored. Thank you so much for accepting. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. Yes. And before we get into the ugly narratives, before we begin to set the record straight, let me tell you a couple of beautiful narratives out there that will probably make you smile. So the first one is that Gloria Elijah is in love with Pere, the General. And yes, and that Gloria Elijah has a deep crush on Pere. Yes, there's also that narrative.
Really?
Yes. And I want to do my own setting the record straight first with you. So the narratives are not wrong, but I want to put it in a better way. I am in love with your personality. I am in love with your mind, with your audacity, with your character. You portrayed such level of control, of loyalty, of integrity on live TV. And you see those words that Big Brother would always tell you after your diary session. He did not lie. He did not lie. Because what he said, how he described you, was how people like me saw you. And so I want to let you know that regardless of the ugly narratives, those of us who watched the show objectively, we saw everything that happened, and we want to appreciate you for teaching people how to be a man, how to be a gentleman, and how to be a very, very competitive player in such high-risk environment, such as Big Brother's house.
Right.
Yes,
100%. Thank you so much.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. Yes. All right. So we're going to get into this. There's something I usually ask my audience whenever we want to have conversations. So I always start with the question of your mental health. How is your mental health at this point? How are you feeling? How's your state of mind?
My mental health right now, I would say it's good. It's good. Coming out to the different crazy, false narratives flying around, and knowing full well that certain people went out of their way to um, orchestrate these things, really, it made me feel some type of way. But I'd say my mental health is good.
Okay. 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 I know you would feel a certain way, but don't worry. Before the end of this conversation, trust me, you'll feel better before the end of this conversation. You feel
Yeah.
better. All right. Want to ask you because we watched you cry a lot
Yeah.
of times, and on
Mm,
one occasion, certain female housemates made a mockery of your emotions. They
mm,
accused you of trying to buy sympathy with your tears. And one of my arguments was men cry too. Men break down too. So that brings
right.
me to the question of how did you deal with, how did you survive under that pressure in that confined space with different personalities, trying to play your game and still remaining humane whilst trying to rewrite your narrative from previous seasons? How did you deal with all of that pressure?
I'm not gonna lie, the pressure was a lot. Um, you know that I remember that particular time when I broke down. I think that was when the
The
when
parrot
the
spill.
the pirate spill. Yeah, that one, man. So that pirate spill, I heard everything that was said, and I didn't break down immediately. I sat down, and the only one thing that could that kept rushing into my mind was, it just took me back to my younger years as a boy,
Mm,
and how so many people would always want to pick on me and say horrible things to me, bully me with
mhm,
words. And so as I sat there, those flashes kept rushing in, and I felt the same emotions that I felt then when those things
mm,
happened in my early years as a boy.
mm,
And it broke to see that those same things were happening again. It broke me. Um, that's when I just broke down and started crying. It
mm,
was a mixture. It was also a mixture of anger. I
mm,
was really offended. I was annoyed. So yeah. Uh, Look, the pressure was a lot, man. The pressure was a lot.
mm.
It came off as though I was the black sheep,
Yeah.
and everyone and people misunderstood every single thing. They it's like certain people went out of their way to willfully misinterpret every single thing, every single word, every single action. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in order to create and sell a particular narrative.
Yes.
People names like Lucifer. I mean, it was horrible.
Yes. We heard
People,
it all. I heard it all. Yeah.
yeah. But in all of that, though, I had to make a conscious decision to maintain peace within my own self.
Mm. Yeah.
And I don't make so many friends. I like to keep my friend circle very small. I don't make so many friends simply because I'm not really that guy. I mean, I have a younger sister. She has the
Mm,
most friends.
mm.
Right from when I was sorry, right from when I
Sorry.
was a kid, right from when I was a kid, I never really had friends. I,
Mm,
I never had so many. I just had very few within my circle, and I've always kept it that way. And
mm.
that's why when what happened to between me and Cross happened, I was disappointed,
Yeah.
but I forgave him.
Yeah. We're going to get to that one because honestly, there are questions a lot of people wanted me to ask, and we're going to get to that part. But for the sake of the conversation we're getting into now, because this one is quite sensitive, this is the
Great.
conversation about people labeling you as aggressive, abusive, violent. Before we get to addressing those negative narratives, tell us about your bond with your mother and how your mother raised you to regard women, how your mother raised you to relate with women, also your relationship with your sister. Because I watched you how emotional you got, in the final week when Big Brother was playing video clips from finalist families and you did not get to see your mother. And that really affected you up until the next day. You were even telling Cross to please, talk to Big Brother, to talk to your team, to check on your mom. So I felt like there was a deeper connection than usual. And for me, it was quite impressive, that a grown man like you still shares such a bond with your mother. Also, looking at the way you handled Mercy in the final week, that was so gentle. And that's why you have a lot of fiancés online already, in case you don't know. Yes, you are the hottest husband material on the internet today. So, yeah, looking at all of those things, right? Tell us, what is your bond with your mom? How did she raise you to relate
Man,
with women?
that woman, she did a phenomenal job. She did a phenomenal job, and phenomenal is not even descriptive enough. You know, she was the only one who single-handedly raised myself and my younger sister. And each time I think about the challenges we went through and how she was able to pull through all of those things with just the both of
Mhm,
us, her, and sometimes when I talk about it, I get very emotional because
mm,
it was so much. She, I, I have a lot of uncles and aunts as well. So I was raised, stayed with my grandparents for a bit, but then my mom was always in the picture from when we were born up until I went to live with my grandparents, and
mm,
then from there I went back to live with my mom because my mom was actually she was struggling at the time. She couldn't afford
mm,
to because she had to go to work every day. She couldn't afford to get a nanny and take us to the daycare, put us, in have a nanny look after us.
mm,
Um, but so what she had to do was she had to resort to having us live with our grandparents, which is
mm,
her father and mother. So
mm,
my grandparents were also very instrumental, but they're late. God bless their soul.
mm,
Um, they were instrumental to raising us up, up to a certain age, and all through that time. Let me tell you, all through that time, my mom was single-handedly paying for our school fees, sending money down for our feeding. She did
mm,
so much. Um, she taught me a lot, and a lot of the things, you know, you would expect that of a parent, a father, would teach that child, especially a male child, certain things.
mhm,
My mom did all of that. She was a father.
mm,
She taught me. Father would have taught me, and
mm,
she taught me. She would have taught me. She taught me everything she did teach me regarding
mm,
women, women, being gentle with women. I was raised. I was raised well. I was
mm.
raised, and gosh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let it all out.
So to come out and in this day and age, and people are, it just
Hmm.
broke me. It did.
Breathe. Breathe,
And when I
Pere.
yeah, and when I didn't hear from my mom that day, or rather I didn't see her, I was a lot of thoughts running through my head, so
Hmm.
much. But coming out and knowing she was well was
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
was
What you
oh yeah,
said about the way your mom raised you is no lies because without you even saying it, we saw it.
yeah,
People choose to take away what they want to take away from the show. And it's all because of stanship culture. So sometimes, even I, as an analyst, I see all of that and I can't really blame them because it happens. It's one of the negatives that comes with the show. It's not
yeah,
like they do not know the truth, they know, but they would
right,
choose to spin narratives that will favor the person that they support. But you are very lucky that the fan base you have, they are very transparent people. You are
hundred
very
percent.
lucky, I must confess. Your fan base, they are very transparent and they own up to their bullshit. So anything you do, they are always very quick to owning it or refuting those that are lies. So let that be a source of comfort to you that you have
Yeah,
people that genuinely see you for who you are. Yeah.
uh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's get into the bone of contention of this conversation.
Hmm.
Now, there's Venita, there's Alex, there's CeECEE, there's DOYIN. What I watched on the show was
Hmm.
you getting poked, goaded, provoked, verbally abused, and bullied by these ladies that I have mentioned. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, it's all about the game. But for the ones that actually dragged for weeks, it became personal.
Yeah.
It became personal because it became a major issue on the outside. So, the first question I want to ask you, which is another ugly narrative that certain fanatics spinned up, right, is this. Did you ever propose a romantic relationship with any of those ladies I mentioned inside the house?
None, zero. I never
Hmm.
proposed a romantic relationship with any one of them at all.
Okay.
Never.
I asked that question because there's this thing they will say that, oh, after going from this girl to that girl, you asked them for a relationship, they refused. That's why you started antagonizing them. I said, how?
That's and even in the house, they kept making it. They kept making jokes about it, and I was very upset, but and displeased that they would make jokes like that. At some point, I told them, I said, no, it's not like this. I never I was never doing that. I was never doing this. I was never doing that. I wasn't pursuing this one for any type of romantic relationship or anything of the sort.
Hmm.
But they kept on with it. It's their nature.
Hmm. I'm going to
Came back.
play a clip for you right now before I play the next video. Now, this clip, it's something that happened in the third week when when you were the director for the movie and the play. You people, I think that was week 3, and you had the situation with Venita and Adekunle. Venita had
Mm.
gone upstairs to the Advice Lounge and was literally on a smear campaign of your reputation. I'm sorry, I have to play this clip. I know that you share a professional relationship with Benita, but everything she said in that head of house lounge, it became a basis for how people started seeing you on the outside. And I feel it's a very ugly narrative that needs to be cleared once and for all. So
Yeah.
she went on a 6 to 7 minute rant saying all manner of derogatory and demeaning things about you. I know she said you people have settled, but now this is about you. We need to clear the air about those things. So I'm going to go ahead now and play that clip. Just watch it, and then we'll come back immediately to address it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let me do this now. Yeah.
This is a whole 55-year-old man that got on a plane with his so glow hair and zero edges to come inside Big Brother house when he couldn't even buy his ticket. Now me, he just say, I can't buy the ticket. You made a mistake. I will wash you finish for this place. You dey mad?
Why not?
Also, they send your prick picture to everybody's phone.
Why not?
I go call Sam. We know what you do for a profession, you bitch asshole. But nobody likes to keep you. Any woman where you encounter you, they go chop you finish, drop you for ground. You know, sweet, you are a bitter soul. Small girls, they reject you on top television, you still don't collect respect. Collect respect. Everything fake. You got back fake teeth. Instead of you to invest in your life at your 54-year-old age, you are a dirty tramp. You are a hoe.
So wait,
You are a cheap one too. The only thing this one has in his life, he no get paper, degree he no get. Now the one where he do military now in the waka they show us. At 52, you are still getting cancelled by 20-something year olds. Because it's 52. He's lying. No, yes, he went to go and cry that I'm provoking him.
Okay. Apologies about that. Apologies, you had to see that. As at the time it happened in the house, you were downstairs, she was upstairs. So I'm sure you did not see any of that. And I don't know. It's actually a lot. It's up to 7 minutes of rant, and there were so many things that were said. But look, you listened to that. So
Mhm.
pick what you need to clear and clear. Start with the age.
I'm not 54 or whatever. I'm 38.
Okay.
I bought my ticket. There was never a time where I said I couldn't buy my ticket. And if for anything, the only thing I did tell Venita at the time was I didn't think that I could be able to undertake the financial responsibilities that would come with going into the house at that time, coming in as an all-star. Now, let me say this for the record. I'm not broke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not broke. By God's grace, I've been blessed in my life to be able to do some things for myself, for my family, for my friends, and for those around me. In March this year, um,
Mm-hmm.
I financed my own project, a film that I executive produced. The film had been something that I'd wanted to do for a very long time. I had that story for like 7 years. So I just decided at that time to produce that thing. It cost me about 100 and roughly 140 something million naira to do it of
Wow.
my own money.
Wow.
Even though even though I exhausted a lot, and at that time there was a whole lot of things going on. So, and I didn't want to hold back on production quality or anything like that. So I went all out with it. Venita apparently was at the time we were cool. I called her. I said, "Hey, I have a project to do." I didn't need to call her. There were several other people I could have called, but because of the kind of person I am, um, I'm a guy who likes to carry his friends along down the
Mm.
ladder, up the ladder of success. So if I'm progressing, I would like my friends to also be part of that success.
Yeah.
Um, Same thing. I wanted to have Cross in my film, but at the
Mm.
time, Cross um, partaking in some political activities outside of Lagos, so he couldn't make it. So I proceeded to bring in another friend of mine, Dotun. In the same
Mm.
vein, I brought in Kachi. Kachi has always been a brother. So if you look at the cast of this particular project, these are my friends, and this is to demonstrate the kind of person that I am. I like to carry my friends with me up the ladder of success, and it was in that same vein that I reached out to Venita, who I thought was a friend of mine,
Mm.
and I, hey Venita. this is a project I want to do. Look, this is how much I have. I paid her around a million, about $1 million naira to for that particular project to work for about a couple of days,
Yeah.
which I'm been paid before. I'm just gonna put that up. So when that happened, at that time I had exhausted all my funds, and I know what comes with um, I know what comes with this whole Big Brother thing. There's a whole lot of financial responsibility you'd have to undertake, and now as Pere, there's a certain level of expectation. I can't saddle other people with these responsibilities.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I even had to speak to someone on from MultiChoice. I told him, I said, hey, look, I don't know if I can do this stuff, man, because I've exhausted every single thing that I have. I've exhausted it. I'm waiting for right now is to sell this particular project so that I can recoup everything that I put in and more as profit. So at the time, I only had very limited amount of funds. I traveled, I bought my tickets, but the only part where I was very iffy was having to undertake every other thing else that had to do with me being in Big Brother's house. You had to get funds for handlers and different, so many other things
Yeah.
that do with the house. And I was very upfront. I was like, man, I don't, because this is a guy who actually feels he has someone as a friend. I mean, I felt I
Yes.
could this particular individual to tell this particular person something about that. I said, well, I don't have the funds to, in that moment, I don't have the funds to do this whole Big Brother thing. And that, and she said, okay, well, fine. She's like, no, you have to do it. She's going to make some calls to see if anyone could come in as a sponsor to sponsor me into show to the house. Yeah, that's where that conversation was. There was never a time I told Venita that I didn't have the money to buy my ticket. I bought my ticket. So whatever she said there was a lie.
Yeah.
I can't even remember any other thing else she said there. No. She said
She
I don't have.
mentioned you. So she mentioned you sending your private pictures around, and people drew a narrative from that, calling you a pervert. And then she described you in a way that in the bathroom in the house during shower time, that you enjoyed flaunting your nakedness, your birth suit around. So the point is, in those things she said, she had described you as an overgrown pervert. That was how she described you.
Well, to set the record straight, I don't send my private parts around. And to also set the record straight, I don't enjoy, or the way she put it, enjoy flaunting my private whatever around in the bathroom. I shower, I face a corner, and I shower, and I leave the shower. It's an open shower where anyone of any sex go in at any time to shower, and that's the way the house rules are like that. It's not, you don't wait for, if a female is in the shower, a male is not expected to wait for that female to finish before the male entered. It's a thing. Anybody can go in the shower at any time. And she, that's a very wrong, horrible statement that she made. It's false and it's devilish.
Thank you so much for clearing the air about that. Because one thing I know for a fact about Big Brother's house, if something becomes common in the house, housemates will have conversations about it. So when she went on that ranting spree for over 6 minutes, what the only thing I could make out of it was this is just vile, petty accusations and very malicious accusations that a typical person that is looking to score cheap points would spill, just to win a fight, get people's favor on their side. But I needed you to clear the air so that the naysayers, people who enjoy spreading such toxic narrative, will listen again and understand that those accusations do not exist. So thanks for clearing that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one now. We're going to
Talking
talk
about me,
about, yeah.
I
Sorry, what did
would
you
love.
say?
She said she talked about me not having papers.
Oh, yeah. It's on the video. It's on the clip. Yeah. It's on the
I
clip.
want papers, like resident papers. I'm a U.S. citizen. I don't know what she's talking about. I'm a U.S. citizen. I served in the United States military for 6 years. Went on
Hmm.
tours, Afghanistan, Iraq. After that, went to school to get a nursing degree,
Hmm.
University of Texas at Arlington in the United
Hmm.
States. Well, I studied to become a nurse.
Hmm.
So her statements completely wrong and demonically influenced.
Thank you for that. As I said, people who engage in bickering like that and are looking to score cheap points, they will use every information they think they have about you, twist it around, and pour it out there to score cheap points. So thank you very much for clearing the air about all of those things. Um, let's talk about Alex. Now, your situation with Alex was more explosive than the others. And this is the part where personally I have a problem with how people reason. And I'm glad you're here to counter all of those narratives. Now, as I
Yes.
mentioned before, I personally watched Alex poke you, goad you, verbally abuse you, threatened to physically assault you, just as she assaulted Ike in the pool. And
Yeah.
I stand by what I said before, that if Big Brother had punished Alex appropriately and accordingly, she probably would not have had the audacity to threaten you with physical assault in and outside the house again. So I
Right.
listened to her say that. I listened to her boldly make such statements and still went on to her diary session that very day. In fact, even several other diary sessions, but specifically that particular day, she went out there to label you a liar, a bully, an instigator, went around the house peddling that perception about you to every other person.
Mm.
Now, the question I want to ask is, what do you think? Because out here, I think I have an idea
Right.
what her grievances with you is, but you being inside the house, obviously you did not see everything. What do you
Mm-mm.
think is your offense to Alex? What do you think you did to Alex that made her so vindictive towards you?
I honestly, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what I did to Alex to make her vindictive. But to be very candid, it was horrible. It was an extreme horrible situation. I don't know.
Hmm.
The only thing that I know is from week one when we were from week one where we were in the uh, in the house undertaking tasks in the arena. I'm a very competitive
Mhm.
person. I
Of course.
love to eat, and because of my competitive nature, I was always wanting whatever group I was in to always win. You
Which is
know,
normal. Hmm.
which is normal. If you're as a Nigerian, if I was watching a football game, I'm patriotic. I would love for my country to win a football game. If they were playing, say, for example, Brazil or Argentina, I'm not going to say because I'm a fan of Messi then or a fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. If they were playing in
Mm-hmm.
Portugal, Argentina, then I'd want Argentina or Portugal to defeat Nigeria. No, I'm first of all a Nigerian before I'm a fan of any other thing else. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I'd want my team to win, and that's the same attitude that I carry into the arena every single time when I'm grouped with other people against other group playing in the arena. I'm competitive. I just want my team to win. And she had a problem with that. She had a problem with always wanting my team to win. There can only be one. If my team wins, which means the other team's lost. And there's always next time for them to come back and try again and see if they can win. But in that moment, I'm always wanting my team to win. And she always, was very aggressive with how she expressed her displeasure regarding that. And it started to, after a while, it started to feel like she had something personal. And this was what she told me. One of those occasions where we would have normal conversations. She told me that her team or some people I had warned her to be careful about me in the house. Um, what, I don't know. So it was because of statements like that that I believed that certain individuals came into the house with um, cutlass. They came
Mm-hmm.
in from day one. They made me their number one target and mission, and hence why a lot of things were the way they were with this particular
Mm-hmm.
individual. But so far as
Okay.
I know, the grievances. There might be others that I'm probably maybe not aware of, but
Mm.
which are because
Yeah.
her her continued uh, poking, her continued provocative behavior displayed toward me seemed really, really dark and came from a very personal place. I'm guessing. I don't know why.
Okay. I thought as much. I already guessed that you would not know because obviously you don't see everything. Now, here's what myself and many other viewers actually saw that happened. You are right about the competitive part, our complaints and all whatnot. We saw that. At least what was shown to us on TV, we saw that. We saw her constant nagging about that. We saw that. But there was the Aquafina task. Did you ever think, did you ever reason about it that right from the very night that you presented that award to CC, that was
Mm,
where that was where the antagonism intensified. Did you ever put two
mm,
and two together?
I
Yeah.
did. I did, but then I was like, could it be? Could it not be? I wasn't so sure. But
Mm,
now it makes sense. I
yeah.
mean,
So was that?
in
Yeah.
hindsight, it makes sense
Yes. So that was
because
that.
yeah,
Mm,
because I did present the award for that Aquafina task to Cece as opposed to her.
mm, yeah. So that was what we saw. And you see, Pere, before you presented that award to CC, all these things you just talked about, her constant nagging, complaining about you being competitive, there was a particular event that happened. I'm trying to recall the names of the housemates involved, but it was very obvious that you were not at fault. And you were trying to explain to her what had actually happened. And she kept on blaming you. And for us, some of us, the viewers, were like, okay, this does not really make sense. Parent is not at fault. And I think it has to do with maybe food or something, you know. So she kept on blaming you and blaming you and blaming you and blaming you. And then
Yeah,
once you
she does.
presented that, yeah, say what you want to say.
No, I mean she always did that. But go ahead.
Yes. Yes, we saw that. We saw how when things happened, she would always blame you and tell you why didn't you be the bigger person? And it became confusing for quite a lot of us because we were like, no, you are cool with this person. You should at least listen to his own side before pointing all fingers at him. So what I was gonna say is It was from that night you presented that Aquafina award to
Mm-hmm.
CEECEE that everything now escalated. Now, one
Yeah.
of her fears that she actually opened up to New about you, or not the other person that was a friend, was that, oh, everybody that used to be a friend of hers in the house is now close to CC. And so she's scared of being close to those people because she believes they would take everything about her, all her secrets, to go spill to CC. So when she made that statement to Neil in the garden, yes, it was in the garden, Neil was just quietly watching her. So when she made that statement to Neil, that was how we got, you know, the crux of the matter, that, oh, okay, so it's because you and CC directed that play together, both of you became cool, and
Mm-hmm.
then for her, she picked offense on that. So I just wanted to clear the air about that,
Yeah.
because the narrative that people drew from that was that, oh, you have toasted Alex, she refused to answer you, you started antagonizing her. So I wanted to clear the air about that.
No, though I never toasted and toasted and toasted and toasted and then antagonized. No, mm-mm. That never happened. The only thing I
Mm.
did say to her was I appreciated her the way she handled the first wedger. Alex, I didn't notice Alex the first day I got in the house or thereabout. It was after we got the first wedge, after we got our first wedger, a notification from Big Brother. And then we had people have different roles to play.
Mm-hmm.
The way the way Alex came on to take charge of that wedger, write the script, and just generally take charge of that thing was impressive
Mm-hmm.
to me. And I remember telling, I don't know if it was Shay or Adekunle. I was like, the way this babe just handles this thing is really, it's very impressive, oh, man. She really tried. So it was at that point I I was impressed, and I told her, I said, the only I'm only I'm just impressed by the way you handled the wedger, and that was what caught my attention, nothing else. I remember telling her that. I don't know if they ever showed me saying any of that to her, but I told her that. Said I'm
Mm.
very impressed the way you handled the wedger and nothing else. So I'm not interested in any other thing, dating or nothing like that. Nope. I'm
Mm.
only impressed by the way you handled the wedger. You know,
Yeah.
that was just
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Anyways, if you ever find the opportunity to have a conversation with Alex, maybe she would tell you if there's any other reason. I'm speaking based off of what we watched, what I watched, right? How the event played out, what led
Played out.
up to what led up to how everything escalated. Now, I
Yeah,
personally watched you go through all of that harassment from Alex in your
yeah.
face and behind your back for over five
Hmm.
weeks. I want to ask you, you that was in the house dealing with all of that pressure, how long did you suffer from all of that harassment?
Man, up until the time I met, or rather, up until the time I started bonding with Mercy.
Wow. And which week
So
was that?
I think that was week 8. Yeah, that was about
Yeah,
week
week
8.
eight.
Because there were certain times where I wake up, I feel very heavy. I go. Sometimes I'll sit down in the garden by myself and just start. I'm thinking. I'm pondering. And I remember very vividly. I remember very vividly. There was a day I walked up to Kid Wire in the garden. I think this would have been week 3 or so. I walked up to Kid Wire in the garden and I told him, I said, "Hey man, I think I want to go."
Mm,
And I started tearing up. I told him I want to go. Like I want to leave this place. And Kid would remember. And Kid kept telling me, says, "No, Perry, no, Perry, you can't do that. You can." Kid and Tolani Badge. I
mm,
remember those were the two people that I had told I want to leave. I want to leave. It was week 3 or 4. I can't remember when now, but that's it. Those things actually made me feel really heavy. It almost got to a point where I started to feel I was slowly slipping into some sort of depression
I saw
because
that.
it was horrible,
Hmm.
and up until that mattress thing, the mattress ish incident when Big Brother called me, and if I don't know if they showed that part where Big Brother called me in the midst of that
Mm-hmm.
mattress, and he called me, says, "Pere, report to the diary room."
Yes, we saw that.
I got in the diary room. The first thing I said, Big Brother, you are not handling this thing, this issue. This person has continually provoked me. You need to do something about it. And one thing Big Brother said to me was, said, Pere, don't worry. We are seeing everything. Said, don't worry. And Big Brother would address the situation. Said, just sit down and take a breath, take a deep breath and
Hmm.
relax.
Awesome.
And I think it was that week she got evicted.
Hmm.
So
Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad you talked about the mattress issue because that is where I am getting to. But
right.
I was going to ask you if you confided in someone, but I'm glad you mentioned you confided in Kidwaya
It
and
and
Tolani. Yes.
mhm,
The reason I was going to ask those questions is because, you see, we live in a society where most of the blames when it comes to a situation of the genders involved in violence, most of the blame goes to the male gender. And
mm,
sadly, that was your situation. Everything that
yeah.
happened, all fingers were pointed at you. Oh, as a man, why didn't you walk away? Why didn't you do XYZ? So we're going to get to what it takes to walk away in Big Brother's house. We're going to get to that, but not yet.
mm,
I want to
mm,
ask you this question. Yeah.
yeah.
After suffering all of that harassment, provocation for weeks, what was the deal breaker for you? What did Alex say to you? Because you see that night, yeah, we did not even see how the conversation started between both of you. What we
Hmm.
saw was Alex. You know how the camera switches from conversations to conversations in the house.
Hmm.
So what we saw was Alex sitting on the bed and then you flipping her over. And then when people wanted to address the issue on Sunday, he now played the part where she dragged the duvet from you and also Omashola. In fact, Omashola's part even confused me because I'm like, how did Omashola's own get into it? So
Right.
we saw that. So the question is, tell us how it's escalated to that. Tell us what happened. What did she say? Because we know that she can be very provocative in her words to you. So what did she say to you? How did she goad you at that point in time that made you feel, okay, I've had it up to here, I'm done?
Okay. So um, this particular period, I had been, I had started to get close to Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I started to get close to Mercy. As a matter of fact, um, I mean, now we're out of the house, so I can say it because they were always wondering why I moved from the pink room to the blue room. I moved from the pink room to the blue room because Mercy was in the blue room, and I wanted
Okay.
to get to know her, and just because she was the only one who had that positive energy with her. She was about the only girl at that time that I never that like understood me to a reasonable extent.
Mm-hmm.
So that particular day, now I sat down. I had finished preparing some noodles, and I remember, was it noodles or something I was eating, and I brought it into the room because I had been sleeping on that particular bed. Prince used to
Mm-hmm.
stay on when he was in the house, and when he got evicted,
Yes.
the
Yes.
vacant, and anyone could occupy that bed. It didn't matter
Mm-hmm.
who. Now
Yes.
I had started sleeping on it, so I got um food. I sat down to eat. After eating, I took the food. I took the plate rather to the kitchen and came back into the room to lay down. The people in the room that I remember were there were Cross, Neo, of course Alex was there, CC was there, Mercy was there, Mashallah was there, and I said I don't know if anybody was there or not. I can't remember. But they were all having a conversation in the room there when I walked in, and then I sat down on the bed, and I eventually laid down and covered myself with a duvet to sleep for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex leaves her conversation. Not, I think after a few minutes, she leaves the conversation and then turns to me and says, "I should leave her bed. That this is her bed." I, Alex, your bed is actually in the pink room. Um, I've been sleeping here for a while. A matter of fact, I even changed the sheets. Well, nobody told you to change the sheets. You could have just left the sheets. Nobody told you to change the sheets. It's my bed. I was calmly telling her, I was very calm. I was telling her, Alex, I can't leave this place because no one has this bed. And it's in the rule book. You know, you only, the only bed you have is the one you initially occupied when you got into the house, which is the bed that you have in the pink room. And
Mm-hmm.
her, I noticed her anger started to slowly boil. And then she started saying things like, "Oh, you have too much negative energy. She doesn't want negative energy on her bed." She kept on making a remark, "It's her bed." I said, "This is not your bed. I'm not standing up from this bed. I want to sleep. Please, I'm going to." And I said, and then she yelled back at me, and then I was like, "Alex, I'm not standing up from this." This time she was yelling, and I yelled back. I'm like, "I'm not standing up from this bed because this is my this is where I've been sleeping, and nobody
Mm.
owns this." At the time, too, the number of housemates in the house were fewer than the beds, so we had more
Yes.
beds than. So I'm like, you could, if you wanted to stay in the blue room, you can sleep on any of these other beds, but I go here first, so I'm occupying this thing. I've been staying here. I've been sleeping on this thing now for a while. At that point, she got up. She said, "Oh, I thought you were fucking joking." And then she yelled and she forcefully yanked the bed sheet from me
Mm.
and in that instance, I'm like, "Wait, plus bed sheet. What did the guy do?"
How did
You know,
Omashola get into the equation?
he didn't even say anything. He wasn't even saying nothing. He just laid there. He
Wow.
was just letting play out, and then she yanked mine and yanked his own. And for a second, I'm looking like, "Oh wow, this woman has problems." So she
Wow.
yanked them, and guess what she did? She took them out to the kitchen area, the corridor there, and then just dropped them on the floor.
Wow.
And I stood up. She came back in the room, and I stood up. The moment I got up from the bed, she jumped on the bed and and then laid down. When I stood up, I had to. At that point, I was very upset um, because she had made some remarks about all this negative energy talk, and then she said some other things I can't remember now that actually got me upset at the time. And I got up, I removed my singlet because I noticed I was wearing it on the wrong side, so I turned it around and wore it back on the right side. And I told her, I said, "Alex," and I said this calmly. I said, "Alex, I don't think you want me to meet you on this bed when I get back." So I went, I got the duvet, the two duvets she had forcefully snatched from off of me and Amashola, and I brought them back into the room. And I lifted the mattress where she was laying on and drew the
Mm-hmm.
mattress. And it was at that point she wanted to. I noticed she was charging toward me to want to hit me. So I told her, I said, "I know you want to hit me, so hit me." Because I had seen her beat up Ike in the house.
Yes,
And it's
we saw
something,
that. Yes.
something that till today, I wonder why Big Brother never, because it's in the rule book.
Mm-hmm.
Think that are grounds for disqualification. Ilebaye did that, and she was given a double strike.
Yes.
Ilebaye do half of what Alex did. Ilebaye
True.
only, Ilebaye only uh, grabbed Doyin by the neck, not even tightly,
Mm-hmm.
and then pulled CeECee's hair.
Mm-hmm.
Ilebaye did, but Alex was landing punches on Ike in the pool repeatedly,
We watched it.
repeatedly landing punches, so much so that Ike had to go in the room and cry.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I'm like, okay, Alex, I didn't want to hit me, hit me. I wasn't going to hit her back. She was going to set herself up if she hits me, because what she would have done would have been she punched me, and of course, Big Brother would have to address that issue
Mm-hmm.
100%. When I said, Alex, I know you want to hit me, hit me, hit me. So it was at that point where Big Brother now called me into the diary room.
Mm.
And when I got into the diary room, I complained. The
Mm.
moment I got in, I didn't even want to speak. I said, Big Brother, look, you're not dealing with this thing. This particular person has been goading me for weeks. Before this incident was the one where she threatened to slap me. And it was very weird because she keeps inserting herself into conversations that have to do with me, and
Yeah.
always want to have to say something negative.
Sure.
Now, let me take you back to where this whole thing also started too. Was that particular day, Omashola and Mercy were in the kitchen with myself.
You know what, Pere? You know what, Pere? You know
Yeah,
what? I don't want people to think you are lying. I played the
right.
clip at the start of this conversation. Let me quickly play it again. Because
Okay.
something happened on that day. I don't know if you were aware. After she
No.
came to the kitchen to whisper and tell you she was going to slap you and all whatnot, do
Mm,
you know that she thought that the cameras were focused on Adekunle in the diary room? She was not
mm,
aware that Adekunle was done with his diary session. And by that time, the camera was covering the main house.
mm-hmm,
So when she stealthily came to you to say what she said, she thought the cameras were not on you guys. So let me play it out.
mm-hmm.
I want people to see for themselves because what people
Yes.
focused on was your response to her.
Mm-hmm,
But people
right.
decided to sweep under the carpet the moves she made towards provoking you. So I want to play that quickly now. All right. And then you speak to that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Let me play that. Okay.
You're very crazy. Stand up. You just see trouble. When I was going, I said nobody should be sleeping here. Oh, I'm very particular about energy. Don't fucking touch me. Pay away. Pay away.
Fucking stupid.
Pay away.
If you hit me,
Pay away.
hit me.
Alex.
I want you to hit me. Hit me.
Alex.
Hit me.
You are provoking me to hit you.
No, you
It
provoked
will
me
not
first.
happen.
Now because of mess, you don't leave your room. You. Oh man, I call you call lies. Call you lies in a parent. A parent.
Not the mess.
The parent.
You don't have what? Like positive energy. Energy is polluted. Why? Because it's not that bad. It's not that bad actually. What you now join to? It's polluted.
Very bad that Joe. I totally disagree.
Anybody when say about it, Papa?
Very bad that.
Anybody when say about it, Papa?
Say you were bad, but please don't your papa, my father.
I wasn't talking to you, Chris. I wasn't talking to you.
I'm telling you nicely.
I wasn't talking to
It's
you.
not
man.
an ego thing.
Hey, no,
Next
please
time
don't.
you get a slap.
Okay, I wasn't talking to you, man.
I'm telling you now. Kwanza, watch out, guy.
Don't talk to me in this house, please. I don't see you here.
That's
Like,
told you quietly yesterday I wasn't talking to you. Next time I will just leave a mark on you.
Chelsea, new. I call anybody name for you when I talk. Your papa. Not be Chelsea talk.
But I think your much last question.
Look, Alex, I don't see you in this house, so let this be the fucking last time you come to me with that shit.
Everybody
Cause
said that negative energy.
you threaten me with a slap,
It was
I will
very
kill
simple.
you.
He could have just
Don't know
said,
me,
you
I
will
will
die
kill
first.
you.
Are you even alive? You're barely alive. You're even going to pray for life yesterday night.
Chelsea,
You're
no be
barely
you to talk
alive.
to me for
If
you.
I touch you, you're gone. You open your mouth, you're talking to me. Say your papa. See, people value their parents here.
No be how they talk to we they play for you.
You
No be
could
how they
have
talk
just said
together.
it. It was simple. If you didn't want problem, you could have just said, I wasn't talking to you.
Wait, just listen to Mashallah.
He said people that said that he was negative energy. Okay, what did he say?
I was the one who was talking to
But I said it that he was. I said it.
I don't hear you when you speak.
I won't even need to touch anybody. If anybody should outside, it's not me that will touch you. What's my own?
This is Big Brother Alex. Please report to the diary room.
Adekule. Hey! I thought Adekule was inside though. I thought Adekule was inside. You said Adekule was inside. Sissy, but I asked you who was inside. You...
All right. Once again, Pere, I know it must be very traumatizing for you rewatching all of these experiences, but I had to go this extent to play all of them because I want people to see for themselves, not just us talking. I want people to see for themselves because people choose to toe the path of selective attacks, right? They see these things, but then they just selectively pick who they want to give a label and who they want to support. And I'm of the opinion that no, these things are real. They happened. Now, from what you saw, it was very obvious. You were having a conversation with Omashola. You were referring to Omashola. Fast forward,
because
she
he was the one.
butted ahead. Yeah.
And me and Omashola in that house, we always playfully curse each other. Sometimes I'll wake up, we will say, "Go see your head." I will say, "Look at you, baboon." Now we just playfully abuse ourselves. It's a banter that we have that connection, that playful connection. And when he said that, I understood he was playing. So me, I was like, anybody went at your papa. So that's how it's not the first we would have a playful bant like that. So when Alex jumped in, I'm like, I wasn't even talking to you. And prior to that day, not even there, I made up my mind not to speak to Alex. And as a matter of fact, Big Brother asked me. Big Brother told me to avoid Alex.
We heard that part in your diary session. We heard it.
Told me to avoid Alex. So I made up my mind to completely avoid Alex. So for her now to come talking to me, that's why I gave her that energy. I was like, I wasn't talking to you, so please I don't see you here, so just move.
Yeah. So I wanted to really showcase that, let people see it, because there was the narrative of, oh, Pere is a woman beater, Pere is abusive, because you had mentioned back. No, I'm just putting out what people were saying, because people did not catch that part, that she had walked up to you and quietly threatened you in Igbo. Please, we need an Igbo interpretation here. She said something about Pachwaga now. Please, if you're an Igbo person in the house and you can give us an interpretation to what she said, please put that in the comment section or tweet at us and let's see the meaning of what she said in Igbo. So she had come close to you, told you she would slap you. All those things she was doing, she did not know that the camera was on both of you. She did not know that Adekunle was no longer in the diary room. Hence the reason she was tackling CEECEE for not informing her that Adekunle was done with his diary session, because for her, that was an opportunity to display and attack you. So I want people to see that and take note of that Alex was the one that made moves on Pere as usual, but this time around, threatening to physically attack him. And when Pere responded back, the internet went on fire. People picked up on your response. And this is another thing I want us to talk about. This one frustrates me the most because when things like these happen in the house, people do not look at the root cause. They do not look at what happened before your reaction. Instead, they focus on your reaction. Now, this leads us to the DOYIN conversation. When you punched the
Yeah.
wall, people said, oh, for the fact that you punched the wall, it means you are violent, you are aggressive, you can beat a woman. Now, here's my question to you, Pere. What does punching that wall signify for you? I have my own definition of that. I did not see
Yeah.
it as aggressive. I did not see it as you being violent. I have my own interpretation, but let me hear from you.
So at that time, Doing was so Doing, and funny enough, the conversation that even made Doing come out, I didn't want to even have Alex. Alex wanted me to talk. I was like, I don't talk about it. She kept insisting I should. I said, no, I don't want to talk. So when she kept insisting, I now spoke. And while speaking, I think Doing overheard me say something, and then Doing walked. You know, she was raising her voice, shouting, and came up there, called me all sorts of names. Instead of replying her, I turned to Neo as though I couldn't hear what she was saying, to make her feel like I wasn't paying attention, to make her feel like what she was saying was irrelevant to me. I turned to Neo, I was like, guy, I beg, this food already. I beg, I dey hungry. I want chop. I beg, hurry up.
Yeah.
So he said what she said again, moved. She came back about 4 times. She came back again, started ranting. I would turn to Neo again, just so that I don't give that room to want to engage. I turn to Neo again to distract myself and be like, hey, Alpha, I beg Neo, this food not ready. I beg, I want chop. Then doing again, she went away. Then doing came back again. 4 times she did. So the fourth time when she called me something, she called me a liar and fucking loser, and then she said I'm gonna lose the girl. I'm like, first of all, the narrative of the whole Kim and Cross thing is not even accurate, to be very candid. And at that point, I needed to actually be firm. So I walked up to Doing. I was like, "What did you call me?" And then she was yelling back at me and talking and saying all sorts of things. And she used some derogatory words. So I paused for a second. I actually wanted her to stop talking. And in that moment, I punched the wall to get her attention. Like, yo, look, just stop talking. I'm not interested in what you have to say. Right there.
Okay. So thank you very much for clearing the air about that. For me and a couple of other people, or a number of other people, the interpretation we gave to that action was you would rather punch a wall and catch a strike to vent your anger than punch a woman.
That's
And
right.
for us, yeah,
100.
for us, that made a lot of sense. Yeah,
100.
because a
Because
lot of people did not see.
I was never going to hit, I was never, ever going to hit a woman. Never, will never hit a woman. I mean, I was raised properly. So there's no part of me that would go and hit a woman. I've seen women, I've seen a woman in that house hit a man. So, I mean, just saying. I thought they said she had a bully, she runs a bully organization or whatnot, anti-bully, but she's the bully. A
Yeah,
bully run the campaign. Funny.
yeah. Okay, Pere. Let me quickly round up with you because I know that you have to run now, but let me just quickly wrap up. I wanted you to talk about what it takes to walk away in a confined space like Big Brother's house briefly, because a lot of people will say that, oh, to prove that you are a man from those two situations, you should have walked away. I don't want to say what my opinion is, but I would love to hear from you. What does it take to walk away?
Look, before all those things happened, I'd been enduring so much. And all I wanted was for it to stop. And I had always been politely, playfully saying, nah, you guys stop with this narrative. I don't like this. Stop with this. Stop with that. You guys don't call me this. I don't like this. And they kept on doing that. So what they were doing at that time was they kept pouring water into an empty glass.
Mm.
Glass gets full. They didn't stop pouring water. They kept on pouring
Mm.
water until the glass overflowed. And that overflow was what happened in those two instances. Look, in Big Brother's house, it's that for some people it just depends on the individual, to be honest.
Mm.
For me, I've been enduring a lot, so I've been walking away from a lot, man. Every single
Yeah.
time. There were several times where I could easily have, you know, displayed certain things, but because it's not in my nature, I would always resort to walking away, and walking away didn't make me less of a man. However, rather than um, rather than make them stop, it's they took it for weakness and felt
Yes.
they could continue. So hence why I had to match their aggressive, provocative behavior with the same energy, because I mean, there's a law in physics that says to every action there's an equal and opposite
There's an
reaction.
option. Yeah.
So there's the reactions what they got, but it takes
Mm.
a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. All right. I have two final questions. One about cross and the other about your pressy ship, of course. I mean, the shippers will not allow me breathe in the comment section. So
Uh,
about cross. About cross. I think it's a statement I'm going to make, and then you can react or choose not to react to the statement. All right. There are
mm,
questions, of course, but I don't want to waste your time. So I personally, as much as other people, perceived a sense of entitlement and selfishness in Cross's approach to your
right,
friendship. I saw how
right,
you gave freely your money point coins whilst Cross bargained about 4 million with two different people for their
yeah,
coins.
hmm,
We watched how you consoled Cross in his downtime, especially during the Innocent Motors task, but all through the times you were harassed and antagonized and bullied in the house. What Cross portrayed on the show was some level of withdrawal from you. Instead, he bonded with the people that rivaled against you. He
hmm,
never gave you solace. He never gave
right,
you a shoulder to lean on. There's a particular night that was very resounding for a lot of us. The night that it was raining, the whole Kimopra situation, you were seated under the Cubana all by yourself, and
hmm,
Cross stayed at the laundry area with Kimopra looking at you. A lot of scenarios like that when you needed your best friend to lean on, but instead he would go and console the people that were actually causing you the hurt. We saw that
yeah,
as betrayal. There was also the
right,
part of you receiving a strike about the whole Alex situation. And Cross did not even take up to 1 second to say, hey, hang in there. Instead, he went to go help Alex dress up in the dressing room the day Alex was evicted. So we saw all of these things and many other things, which I could go on and on and on. But to crown it all up, we saw a sense of entitlement, selfishness, narcissism as displayed by your friend and brother, Cross. And on countless number of times, he had told Big Brother that when he comes out of the house, he's going to evaluate your friendship. He's going to ask people around if you were a good
right,
friend to him. And Big Brother has taken out time to tackle him several times about his own role in not being there for you, in not being loyal. Big Brother had even instructed him, or let's say advised him to apologize to you. So my questions are you going to evaluate your friendship with Cross? Are you going to have a conversation with him?
mm,
what are you going to do about everything so far? And then after that, just tell shippers what they want to hear, about Percy ship, and then that'll be that.
Yeah. So yeah, with the cross situation, everything you said absolutely true. There were Cross is one person in the house that I didn't view as a competitor. I wasn't going to treat Cross as a competitor, and I remember saying that to Big Brother several times. I said everyone in this house to me is a competitor, but with when it comes to Cross, is not. I don't see him as a competitor. I see him as my friend. Um, Now, when the incidences started to happen, what I expected from him was to actually come get my own side. There was never a time he came to speak to me and to find out exactly what happened, or to talk, or even give me his shoulder to lean on. There was never that time in the house um, during those incidences, and I really did expect that. I did feel very alone a lot of times, and
Mm.
it was the reason why the absence of Cross in that house gave birth to a new friendship with Neo.
Great. We endorse that friendship.
For me, Neo. A matter of fact, look, Neo and Alex in the house very close. But when Neo started to see how Alex was behaving, Neo was the first person among the guys who were close to me to speak up against what Alex was doing. Cross
Yes.
never spoke up against what he was doing. Neil was the
Yes.
only person who did, and that was the reason why I started to get really close to Neil in the house, because I started to see Neil as the one person who understood where I was and what I was dealing with, and that's how that friendship. And God bless that guy, man. That's how that friendship was birthed, and we became,
Yes.
and we're still close. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Cross has come out since we've been outside the house. We've had conversations. It took. I'm gonna be honest. It took Liquor Rose, because before all of this stuff, it had always been three of us. It had always been Cross, Liquor Rose, and myself.
Mm.
Liquor Rose. And I'm sure she will probably not want me to say this, but I would for the sake of this conversation. Liquor Rose is one woman I would never ever joke with.
Mm.
Um, she came out everything you echoed today. She
Mm.
echoed the same thing,
She
and
was
she
watching.
told me, yes, she was watching. She told me, she said, "Pere, when you cried in the house, I was crying with you." She
Mm.
broke down, and she was like, there were days she would watch me cry. She would just be like, "Can't you people see what?" And she was like, "Cross, can't you see?" So it was. She had to call Cross, myself. We sat down at, since we've been out, I think about a few days ago, sat
Yes.
down and she addressed the issue.
Mm.
You know, made sure she reprimanded Cross for his shortcomings while he was in the house, which he accepted.
Good.
And that conversation was had. And that's where, I don't know if you saw a video Liquor did and said we should apologize to her because we both put her through so much. So
Okay.
yeah, Liquor was
Thank
Liquor
you.
was on, and I appreciate that woman so much. I
Yeah.
swear.
All right. Quickly tell us about your ship with Mercy. I put out a tweet, was it yesterday? I said, you people's wedding, if it happens, is that one wedding that I don't mind going into the streets to beg for an invitation card, because I am not a shipper. The whole world knows that Glory Elijah does not like ships. But you people got me so invested in your beautiful, should I call it yacht? It's not just a regular ship, it's a yacht, a luxury yacht. So what is the situation? Should shippers be hopeful? Should they start bringing their flowers and money
Ah,
bouquet? Which one?
look, I would say this. Mercy is a woman that I really, really like a lot. There's a lot of affection there. So, and it's not one sided. It's a mutual. We're like mutually. We have a mutual understanding
Hmm.
and share that mutual likeness. We are just taking one step at a time and exploring ourselves and getting to know ourselves, understand ourselves, and I would say that it's going somewhere
Hmm.
for sure.
Okay. We
It's
will be
going somewhere.
watching and we'll be praying for both of you. In fact, people have become a prayer point too. We are
For
praying
real?
for both of you. We are praying against anything that will put asunder in that ship. Me, I am doing prayer and fasting for both of you. But really, Pere, let me
A lot
say
of
this to you.
there's a lot of lights, and
Yeah,
at the time when it was dark, she brought a lot of light. Trust me, she did.
yeah. We saw that. We saw that happen. And the beauty about your ship is it portrays the true you and the true her.
Yeah,
Now, I know that your team is going to cut my head. Please, my apologies to your team members. I'm rounding up right now. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. But Perry, my final words to you. I want to encourage you to stay
right.
true to yourself, right? Do not allow the negative narratives to sway you. When your movie
But
comes out, Perry, please feel free to share the trailer with me, share
yeah,
all details for promotions with me. I do not
yeah,
mind using my platform to push it as well. We are here to support you. Thank you so much for giving us a show. Thank you so much for playing your game right. Thank you for giving
yeah.
us a high standard for a competitor. That is how a
Thank,
game should be played. Thank you so much
thank you,
for being soft. Thank you so much for being gentle. Thank you so much
thank.
for Thank you so much for being an amazing human being. You don't know how
Yeah,
much you sold yourself to the world. Let the naysayers say whatever they want to say. But those of us who are woke, who are open minded, who are objective, we saw the true you and we appreciate the true you. And my prayer for
mhm,
you today is that your life is not cut short by pettiness, by
mhm,
malice, that you live
mhm,
a long life filled with love, that you find more deserving friends, more deserving people that will learn to appreciate you better for what you give. That the energy of loyalty, the energy of friendship, the energy of love and care that you give, that God brings your way people that will reciprocate that energy for you 100 times over. That your cup
mhm.
runs over with joy. All of the pain, the hurt that you faced in the game because of a game. My prayer to you is that as you live the rest of your days on earth, that you find peace that goes beyond all understanding, that you find
Yeah,
joy. Anything that makes you happy, let it multiply and multiply and multiply. And my prayers to your mom as well for long life so that she will
amen,
enjoy seeing your face all the
amen,
time. Yes, and happiness all through and through for you, parent, and everything that you do.
amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
and thank you so much for. Thank you for shedding light on these things because a lot of people don't even know um, generally that men could also be victims of these type of things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you too. Yes, I was going to ask you to mention all the projects you do or you have in line. So if you can just quickly mention them, list them out so that we follow through, and then that's it.
Yeah, so of course, I'm sure a lot of people are aware of the men's club. The men's club is currently on Prime, and I think that's season 4, the newest one. And there's also my project, my film that I executive produced, the one I've always talked about that I shot in March of this year. It's currently in post production phase and should be
Okay.
out by. It's called The Silent Intruder. I filmed the
Nice.
movie in Nigeria and also in the United States. So,
Nice.
I mean, watch out for that. And of course, there
Nice.
are projects coming up shortly. So as they come,
Nice.
announcements too.
Nice. Okay. And it's a wrap. My sincerest appreciation goes to your team for making this happen. Thank you so much, Pere. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
gracing this platform with your amazing presence. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have fun. And bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you very much. Okay. Nice. Now, all of that said, thank you all so much once again for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening, the rest of your weekend. And yeah, that's it. That is it. Once again, thank you. Bye.